What's going on, guys? In this video I'll be reviewing the new Nikon D3200 DSLR with the kit lens. We'll look at some of the indoor low light shots with the pop-up flash, without the pop-up flash increasing the ISO. We'll look at one night shots I took in Jersey City, and we'll look at some of the outdoor shots that I took with the camera, and I'll just share my opinion, what I think of the camera itself and the kit lens. Okay, so basic stuff, everyone knows it's 24 megapixel camera, full 1080p, and you can also do 60 frames per second at 720p. I'm going to do a separate review for video stuff. I've already tested it, and it's pretty much on par with the 7000. Alright, so let's get started. Let me show you guys a shot that I took indoors in low light. Alright, so if you don't have a speed light, which is your flash, and I'm not talking about pop-up flash, I'm talking about the proper flash, the external flash basically. This is how your picture is going to look like, okay, which it's going to look pretty bad. You're going to have shadows, really harsh light on the face. So if you do plan to take pictures indoors, please consider a speed light, okay? If you're not going to use the pop-up flash, your picture is going to look even worse, because in low light, without any flash, even without pop-up flash, what's going to happen is you're going to have to increase your ISO, and your minimum shutter speed, your shutter speed is just going to drop so slow that your pictures are going to come out blurry. So I basically had to increase the ISO to 3200, which is really high, and even increasing it at 3200, the shutter speed was 1/60th of a second. And the reason why is because it's a variable aperture lens. As soon as you zoom in, the lens is going to block a lot of the light. So this is basically no good. So I quickly threw speed light on. It looks like he almost blinked when I took the picture. So with the speed light, this is how the picture is going to look, okay? This is taken with the kit lens. So sure, it's not super sharp. All of these pictures are unedited, by the way. So yeah, it doesn't look super sharp, but at least the light is softer, okay? So speed light is a must. Without speed light, if you're gonna use pop-up flash, this is how it's gonna look. And without any flash, you pretty much have no chance indoors in low light, okay? Let's see. Here's a quick night shot. Again, it's a terrible picture because there's fence here, there's construction equipment here. I just wanted to get one shot at night just to show you guys how it looks, what you can do with the kit lens. So let me zoom in. Again, 24 megapixel. This was shot in RAW and it's barely edited, okay? This is pretty decent for a kit lens. You have all the details here. I mean, you could read the number. This to me, this is very much acceptable. If you don't want to spend an arm and a leg on a wide angle lens, kit lens will bail you out. You'll have to use a tripod, turn off your VR so your picture doesn't come out soft, and use either self timer or a cable release. I didn't have a cable release for this camera, so I ended up using a self timer. So overall, I think this picture looks pretty decent, okay? So 24 megapixel is gonna help you out here. In my opinion, you see some softness in the corner. It's very clear. You have softness in the corner, and as you're coming towards the middle, it's getting sharper. Okay, so this this has to do with your lens. If you change your lens, keep the same camera body and just get a different lens, your picture is going to look much better. But for kit lens, I think it's not that bad. Again, this is an outdoor shot. This is completely unedited, 24 megapixel. It was shot in RAW. If you zoom in, you can see that the sharpness is actually not bad at all. And this was shot at f8. Okay, now I do want to remind you guys one thing. As soon as you zoom in, 5.6 blocks the light. So, but if you want to do landscape shots, handheld, you're gonna have trouble with noise. I had to increase the ISO to 800 just so I can get relatively faster shutter speed, so there's no camera shake. So one thing I forgot to mention is this right here, ISO 100 f9. So f9 gave you the sharpness, but one thing I did notice is that the camera does overheat a little bit. You can see even at ISO 100 you see a little bit of noise, which I don't see when I do night shots with my D3S or with my D7000. So there is going to be a little bit of noise even at ISO 100 if you're doing long exposure shot, because the longer your shutters open, you know, the faster the processor basically heats up. Okay, so here f8 sharpness is pretty decent, you know, for a kit lens. It looks like from corner to corner it's acceptable sharpness to me. It's sharpest right in the middle here, middle area here the most. Okay, all right, next shot is the bokeh. I just did this just so I can see how smooth the bokeh looks. Bokeh is not pretty at all, guys. Let me show you the bokeh of a prime lens. That's how the bokeh should look like. Okay, so this lens is a $200 lens, 50mm 1.8G lens. I think if you photograph kids, you know, or do portraits, it's a must-have lens if you own like an entry-level DSLR. Okay, so here's a bokeh of your prime lens, and here is what am I doing? And here's the bokeh of the kit lens, and you can see it's just not smooth. You know, you have circles in here. It's not pretty. For some people it's acceptable. For a kit lens, I guess it is acceptable, but it will not give you the prettiest bokeh. All right, next shot is, all right, so I think it's a great camera for general purpose photography. You can do some portraits, you can do some nature shots, you can do outdoor stuff. Here's one of my favorite pictures that I took with D3200 and the kit lens. Focus accuracy, I struggle with this a little bit, and it was because of the kit lens. I will not say it was because of the camera, because when I used the prime lens, focus was on spot. So with this shot, I pretty much had to take a couple of shots to get relatively decent focus on this leaf right here. So again, as long as you're composing your shot the way it should be, you should be able to take pretty decent pictures. So I really like this picture. Obviously this is edited, which is essential for photography. No matter what camera you have, you could have a $10,000 camera, you still have to edit your pictures so they stand out. Okay, so that's a pretty decent picture. I also like this picture. I did struggle with focus a little bit. The focus was not spot on, and once again, when you zoom in, it's gonna block a lot of light. It was at 5.6, and ISO 400 was not cutting it, so I increased the ISO to 800, and I just went with, you know, a little bit of extra sharpness at 6.3. So overall impression of this camera, I think it's a great camera. Colors, everything is really nice, and you know, it doesn't have enough focal points, but that's the case with most entry-level DSLRs. D3100, I believe, has 15 focusing points, which is 4 more than D3200. But again, if you're gonna spend all your money on D5100, then you won't have any money left for your prime lens or for your speed light. So you're better off getting D3200 instead, I guess, if you can squeeze speed light or a prime lens in it. Now, a lot of people have been asking me, how does this camera compare with D3100? you know, I've done a review on D3100 already. What I'll do is that I'll do another video and just compare both of them and tell you, you know, what I feel. This is just a review. This is not a tutorial. I am working on a tutorial video which I will share pretty soon. Now remember, as soon as you change your lens, you're gonna get pretty great looking pictures, pretty great looking, whether you're doing landscape stuff or whether you're doing portrait. So this picture here was taken with 50mm 1.8G, and you can see, and I took this wide open, okay, at f1.8 ISO 100. So I'm very happy with this picture. I mean, just to show you the resolution, you can zoom in, and it pretty much holds all the details in there. So 24 megapixels is pretty solid. File size is not that big. Raw file size, you're looking at about 19 megabyte, and after converting into JPEG, you're looking at maybe 13 megabytes. So file size is not going to be an issue for you guys. I think it's a great camera. You guys should definitely consider it. And you know, just remember, kit lens is not going to cut it. Kit lens is the bokeh and everything, sharpness, focus accuracy. You're going to compromise on a lot of stuff. So if you can easily afford this, then get a prime lens and a speed light with it, and you guys should be good. Stay tuned for my tutorial of the camera. I'll do a separate tutorial for the video. I had a lot of fun, you know, doing video with this. There are some things that I did not like, and I'll share that in a separate review. Alright, hope all is well, and I'll talk to you guys later.